I'd like to call forward Molly Clark from the American
Island, which also is a member of the Coalition for Transportation Choices. You've heard or will be hearing a lot of the information about the crucial role that transportation plays in economic and community development, including jobs creation, housing, education, access to services. You've heard about the environmental. You've heard about including global warming, climate change, dependence on foreign oil. All of those things have grave economic consequences for the state. I'd like to focus on the adverse impacts of health and healthcare costs that come from the existing transportation system without adequate choices. Transportation is a major source of air pollution. Increased vehicle miles traveled have offset reductions in pollution from newer individual vehicles. And by the way, we also support in the letter that you have in the packet refers also to the Vehicle Mile Travel Tax Study Commission bill later. Air pollution is related to lung disease, heart disease, makes a lot of other chronic conditions worse. There's short-term, there are long-term effects, which I've laid out in the written testimony. It goes all the way from premature death to premature birth, premature aging of lung tissue, all kinds of effects that are being paid for through our health care costs, either by the individuals, by the premiums they're paying, and by the state for its share of the health care people. For example, Rhode Island has an asthma epidemic. More than 1 in 10 people have asthma. And Rhode Islanders pay at least an estimated $41 million per year for direct health care costs. And that's just asthma. That's not counting all the other chronic diseases. It's not counting all the other things related from vehicle exhaust or from inadequate physical activity. Because the other piece which this the written testimony addresses are the costs that are becoming increasingly recognized from the difficulties of trying to walk, to bike, to stay physically active in the existing transportation system is not adequately addressing those. The American Public Health Association, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, the Rhode Island Public Health Association, the Rhode Island Department of Health, you heard in the Health Department budget hearing just a few days ago, have included transportation in its Healthy Communities focus. Attached to my testimony are 2 issue briefs, one from the American Public Health Association and one from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, pointing out how incredibly important both the effect of emissions and the effect of physical activity or lack of physical activity on obesity, and the way that the whole transportation and land use structure is set up makes it harder to be physically active on an everyday basis, and we're paying for that. The state is paying for that. I'd just like to point to one thing for the American Public Health Association. One, nationally, healthcare expenditures are surpassing $2 trillion annually. That was in 2006. That was about 16% of our gross domestic product. They're figuring it to be about 17% by next year. And that transportation strategies that improve health rather than making it worse are part of the overall way of controlling healthcare costs. And I know that this committee is very much involved in healthcare costs as a major piece of the state budget and the budget for individuals and companies in this state. So it may seem not as connected, but transportation runs through everything on this, and we urge passage of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.